So, with that said, I think that's a good segue. Let's go to Carlisle chat because I know there's a couple people in chat that were there or at least heard about it. So, I think the first thing that we should do is talk about the exhaust competition because one, and the most important point is that Chad lost and I won from shifting lanes because the judges were beautiful and smart and handsome and just the best judges ever.
Just because you're
definitely not deaf.
Just because you're beautiful, just because you're handsome, just because you do that more than anyone else, does not make you have like. Here's the thing.
I'm just buttering them up because they know what they're talking about.
They absolutely do not. I have listened to my clip, and then I made a compilation of most, if not all, the cars that were there. Some of them were just so tame that you heard more tire noise than exhaust note.
Yeah, a couple of them were. It was tough also because it was raining the second day, too.
Yeah, I don't know. I think my Mustang was too fast for them, and they didn't like that.
Okay. How about this? How about we have our own exhaust competition?
I agree.
Let's run the clips and let chat decide who is the winner of everyone that we show. I'm fully aware that my car sounds good, but it's probably not going to win this competition because there are better sounding cars than mine in these clips. So, with that said, roll those clips.
Alrighty, first up, can you add yours in for fun? If you can get me a clip, we'll throw it in at the end. Absolutely. So first up, we're going to have Greg, me, and then some cars, and then a couple reminders. And then at the end of this video, we're going to go back to our cars, and that's where you can vote on how much Greg's wrong. And then after every car that isn't ours, I want chat to sit here and say worse, better, or worse than the Mustang. Your car sounds good. There's no...
It does sound good. I can't hear it, but I know how it sounds.
Here's everybody's winner.
Kennedy in a 15 Mustang GT. This contest, other than
Stefan, if you're in here, here's your car, baby. They sound so good. That Porsche sounds really, really good. And if Andrew Kaiser in Facebook's in chat, I specifically put that shit for him. They didn't do much, but they're being a sissy. Pause it right there. That Audi had a V10, which I thought was awesome, and like it had to be equal headers and a no, not really resonated exhaust. That thing sounded insane.
That Cayman and that V10 Audi sounded ridiculous.
You know, and then you have your obligatory Subaru. Which I thought sounded pretty good. For a Subaru.
And apparently no car won the biggest, like that is like...
New Edge Mustang. Compared to my Mustang.
Kennedy in a 15
Just saying, we threw a good sounding Mustang in for. We are now getting into the cars that made the final and I didn't. This car somehow made the final and mine didn't. Just wrap your head around that and then tell me these judges weren't idiots. Second favorite Subaru of all time. And then Doug, clutch didn't slip. It was TC intervening, traction control intervening. I was right on the fringe of grip. And I didn't lose grip, but the TC was letting itself know that it was there. Honda actually sounded pretty good, but only at full jack. I don't.
Yeah, I don't.
RS5 sounded pretty gnarly. Arguably one of the better sounding SR20s I've ever heard.
Volkswagen
You should be up
R32.
soon, Doug.
Let's see if it sounds like a Wookiee like they usually do.
This would have gotten my vote for best sound. 100%.
Yeah, agree. That R32 sounded
Obsessed creation.
majestic. That Subaru hatch sounded.
I don't know what was in this. I think it was a 1J of some assortment. I couldn't get a close look at the engine bay, but it's not the 7M that came in Gen 3 Supras here. Like, over in Japan, they got the 1J in them, so it's a common swap for these, but...
Little screw up going.
Alright. Seriously? A Miata? A Miata made the final.
Fair play. It was a nice sounding gun.
There you were, Doug.
There's Doug.
Oh, forced 5 series.
Send again.
That
Sounds
RC
so good.
sounds so good. That would have been like third place behind my car, the R32, and that. And it would have been tough deciding between that and the R32. There's Greg's again. All right, guys. So this is where you're going to cast your vote. So the next cars up are going to be me and Greg again. And you're going to tell us in chat which one you like better.
Mustang GT.
Let's hear it, chat. Do we like Swedish? Nick votes Doug. The car does sound very good.
Thank you. I agree. If it's all right. I'm not gonna say anything. You guys vote
Kennedy in a 15 Mustang GT.
That's because, Christian, that's because I was a good friend and I filmed Greg coming and going. Greg's like, yeah, up the hill. I thought he was going to crash. He didn't. And then he turned the camera off.
You thought I was gonna crash?
No. When I hear, straight sixes sound good. You won't hear more of Greg's. Listen to the very end of this.
Kennedy in a 15 Mustang GT.
I gotcha.
Chris goes, between those two, it's the Mustang, and this comes from a total Volvo nutcase. I think the defense rests. Christian would be like, I'd have to hear you downshift to decide. Fair enough.
So here's for me. Like I will concede that your car, I believe, does sound better than mine. If your car didn't have headers, I feel like it would be a closer thing, because I feel like the V8 would sound good, but it would sound a lot more muffled. When you put those headers on that car, it just changed the sound to a very sort of like, not that throaty V8, but more of like a singing V8. You know, it's that slight differentiation in tonality that really kind of sells it for me with your Mustang. I mean, I've heard a bajillion 5.0s and S550 pluses without headers, and they sound good, but they don't sound like yours. Yours has definitely more of a singing quality than a general 5.0 S550 does. To me, that's the key to it, and that's why I think your car sounds better than mine. That being said, I think mine does sound really good, and I hadn't really heard it at full chat with the downpipe on it yet from other perspectives, and I'm actually really pleased with how it sounds. It sounds great from the inside. The pops and bangs are cool, and it behaves. This is like a mini Jag F-Type, which is cool because you get on this thing. Sometimes it'll pop, randomly here and there when you're driving, but if you get in between like 2,500 to like 3,500 RPM, and you just literally just tap that gas. You don't even have to like hit it or anything. You just really feather it, like within like 1 or 2 millimeters. It just pops and bangs and crackles for days, which is cool. It's the same thing the F-Type does. And I love that because it just adds a little bit. And that's not even a tune or anything. That happens from the factory. Which is really cool.
Which is why mine only does it in certain situations. When we were tuning the Mustang, I had opportunities to do like a ghost cam, which literally just locks it to cam in its high lift, high horsepower configuration, and that's what gives you lope. I didn't want fakery. I didn't want like a pop tune, which, right at lift makes it a smidge rich, right? I didn't want that. But when it pops, I mean, you heard it on the drive to Doug's house afterwards, the one time. I mean, it went pop. Yeah. It's pretty epic. The part of my exhaust that I don't like is that it's a little raspy. And what I mean by that is pay attention early in the rev range chat. You can hear it's just got a little bit of rasp, and I am not a fan of rasp. Also, I'd like to point out that I'm pretty sure I was the fastest up the hill. Just saying. Justin in chat, or Nick's going to get gas. Good luck, buddy. Justin, also, not that I'm siding with anyone, but I noticed that the sky is gray and sad when Greg goes, but beautiful blue sky when Chad goes. So even Mother Nature agrees with Chad. Hard to argue with that logic. Also, I like to think that just because of the nature of my car is that I brought rain and made it for Greg. Just saying. But I mean, your car, it has that classic straight six smoothness to it.
Yeah, it really does.
That you can't.
Yeah, I'm a big fan.
You can't really. Andrew, what's going on in chat? You have to cast a vote. Greg's Volvo or the vastly superior speed machine, the Mustang.
Kennedy in a 15.
Oh, and then just for you, Andrew, I put a couple of these in. Here you go.
Yeah. It sounds like a
Get the
Wookiee,
R32.
like they usually do.
Andrew votes Volvo. I love how those VR6s have like the straight six sort of tonal to them, but aren't the same sound.
Yeah, the R32, those VR6s are as if a V6 sounded like an inline 5.
Right.
which is the craziest thing, but it sounds very similar to an Audi or Volvo inline 5 in that way. It doesn't have the smoothness factor. It has more of like a throat warble almost.
It's like there's a pulse to it.
Similar.
There's that pulse to it that you get.
It's more Yeah, you're right. It's like a more pulsating, but it has that like sort of like low end sort of like burr kind of like noise, sort of like the fives do, but more, like just more unique because the fives do sound great. They sound amazing, but most of them sound very similar from the Audi to the Volvo. There are like very slight differences, but if you hear a VR6 with a good exhaust, you know what it is.
It has hints of both. Like I said, between that and the Lexus would have been for my vote. But here's the fun thing. I have no idea who won this stupid thing because I can't find it anywhere.
I can't find. If anyone in chat knows where to find the winners of this, please let us know because I have no idea. Let's take an overall vote. Of all the ones you guys saw, which one do you think sounded the best overall? It doesn't have to be ours. I'm curious to hear what you guys thought.
All right, chat, let's hear it. Which is your favorite? And Doug, to answer your question, Greg was on camera duty when the SRT ran, so no, I didn't get footage of it.
What?
We have a last-minute entry into the first annual Shifting Lanes exhaust competition for people who were planning to go to Carlisle. And that was Justin's entry. We'll say he was there. That does sound pretty good with the boost.
If he was there, he would have been in it. So let's be honest. He would have been in the competition for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Of all of those cars, in chat, put just the car now. What do you guys think was the best sounding overall?
So we have Mark.
Between us.
Mark goes the Audi V8. I agree. That sounded pretty dang gnarly. I don't know if I put it ahead of some, but that was pretty good.
Yeah,
Justin has the right idea that V10 Audi, it's like when you put the long tube headers on the V12 Mercs sedans, and it sounds like a freaking F1 car. It's so unexpected for the car that it makes it sound that much better. Chris goes, so many Volvo homies up in this chat.
We got Volvo homies in this chat every week. Same time.
Andrew over on Facebook
We need more.
goes, Chad's wins the Savage Award. I'll take it. Doug on Justin's Grand National. That sounds very nice. 3.8 exclamation point. And Doug goes with Caddy. Of the cars that were mentioned, Mark goes, of the SL cars, Chad's Mustang gets my vote. Well said, sir.
That's not what was reading on the screen.
Christian,
though Mark is a little biased. He and I have the same car, just his is an R design and mine's a Polestar. So his car has the same sounding engine.
Christian goes, I don't know if it's the Miata strictly my favorite, or I enjoyed it just in spite of Chad. I mean,
Christian, this is why we love you.
This is pretty. I mean, there have been a lot of great ideas to spite the me.
Doug, of the cars that are Chad's Mustang, which is your favorite?
I mean, duh.
That's exactly what Chad is saying. Of the cars that are mine, which is your favorite?
Of those parameters, I win. It's like anybody here have like young kids or a niece or a nephew or something, and basically every game you play with them is they're just playing it. It's I win.
Yeah.
All right.
100%.
You're playing Scrabble and you spelled out blah, 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 but sure.
Yeah. This is Chad with the Mustang. I win.
I win.